Hi, I'm Robin Ritterhoff, and
Yes.
I delivered the second load of fresh harvest from the Master Gardeners demonstration garden in Durwood, Maryland, to the warehouse yesterday. And last Tuesday, I got to meet Reggie. Yesterday, I think I delivered to Paul or Peter. Yeah, it was tiny.
Awesome.
It's not like the pre-pandemic size of harvest that we've had, but we're working on it.
Nice. Thank you, Robin, for sharing. Anyone else would like to go?
I don't know how to let you know. I just want to say first, it's hard to top your news, Agar. It's always wonderful to have new lives come into being.
Thank you, Kathy.
I wasn't here last month because Agar knows this. I was in Madison, Wisconsin. I drove out, which is quite a long haul. There's a lot of flat country between here and Madison, which I know because I grew up in Michigan. But in any event, I was able to see my younger daughter and her husband. They were married last August. And
wow.
I mean, I know him very well, but it's the first time I have visited them since COVID and since they were married. So that's always another joy to be with family.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Catherine. Jackie, I saw that you wanted to say something before.
Wow, you're very perceptive. No, I was just going to pipe in if others weren't, but okay. I like hearing our guest talk. But hi, everybody, and sorry I was late. And Agar, I'm going to catch up with you later to understand what your news is because I missed it.
Oh, yeah. I was sharing the news that my little sister is 22 weeks pregnant now. And she informed me last week that she will be giving birth to twins girls.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and I was saying that in our culture, having twins in the family is like a blessing and gives you respect in the community in the sense that they assign you a specific name in the community so that everyone is aware of the fact that you are a parent of twins.
So, okay, yeah. Very auspicious.
Very excited. Exactly.
Yeah, nice to hear.
Anyone else?
Good afternoon, Simone Perry Brackens. I'm currently working alongside with the team, the call center team in Fraysia with the SNAP program. I'm grateful to not only be a part of Breaking Bread once again, but to also be a part of the Manna Food Center team. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing right now. So thank you. And it's good to be back on with Breaking Bread.
Thank you, Simone, for having you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for your community sharing. Now it's the perfect time to share the progress on our commitment. To recall what we had from the last meeting, we were committed to bring more people into this great conversation. We were also for mutual participation. We were also committed to collaborate for inclusive language and to share takeaways with people around us, and also to always be part of this conversation among other commitments that we make. So does anyone want to jump in and share about his or her progress from the last meeting?
Well, I'll take it in a little different way because I admit I forgot to invite anybody to Breaking Bread. But I will say, one of the things I like most about Breaking Bread is having different ways to relate to the people on the screen. So Annabelle and Mark, you're new to me, but I look forward to connecting with you. And along those lines, in between times, Kathy and I had a nice conversation about some observations she had and ideas, and it was really nice to have a one-on-one conversation. And pretty soon I'm going to be sending Robin some photos of the tomatoes that are growing from the seedlings she gave me. So my commitment, I guess I would say, if I can recast it, is just staying in touch with people in between Breaking Bread.
Thank you, Jackie. Anyone else? I made the commitment last time to invite someone, and I did it this time. I talked to Annabelle yesterday, and I sent her the link to join. She's here. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. It's a work in progress, but I am reaching out to some folks in our ambassador network who are re-engaging now that we're opening up and doing some stuff in the community, and hoping that we have some more folks join us this next time. And yeah, just happy to be here. So thanks for having us. Bye.
Thank you, Edgin. Anyone else? So yeah, thank you for sharing all those great ideas, or all the steps that we are taking to make sure that we are keeping the conversation ongoing. So I think the most important part is to take an action, no matter how small. So moving forward, this is the time to put our ideas together and come up with concrete solutions. We learned from the pandemic that food assistance has been crucial, because hunger has affected friends, families, neighbors, and people from all ethnic groups, all genders, all races. And we noticed that everybody needs food. But we also learned from the last two meetings that it's not just about food and feeding people, it's also about other aspects of the society. On the one hand, we have our social change wheel that Dave and Catherine introduced as a tool to realize our vision. On the other hand, we have our lived experience, like what Jose shared in the last session. We have all noticed and witnessed or been inspired by something we would like to done differently, or to reconsider in the next normal. So I would like us to go into break rooms for around 25 minutes and just share our inspirational story and identify the value that we would like to bring in the next normal, and also explain maybe step by step, or how we want to apply those values in the food security approach. Because we learn a lot, we share our lived experience, but we also have some of the things or some of the values that we want to see in the next normal. This is the perfect time to just put them down and see how we can reconsider those values, or how we can apply those values into what we are doing right now. I will ask Sam to assign rooms to people, and you will just click on the icon join when you will see the link on your screen. We are 12, we can do 3. Yeah. So before that, if you have any reflection before we go to break rooms, just jump in and say something while Sam is breaking the rooms.
You know, we're talking about values and values you want to take into this new, not new world, but I guess in many ways it is a new world as we open up. And the thing that comes to my mind is patience. I think patience with ourselves and with other people too, as we, kind of ease back into reconnecting with one another and having these discussions. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Jean.
Looks like Reggie wants to say something.
Yeah, Reggie, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
No, I'm sorry. I was just raising my hand. I was sending a message to Sam, and I'm going to have to unload a truck, so I was going to have to split. So I apologize for raising my hand, but duty calls. I'm working hard for the community, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Reggie.
Thank you, Reggie.
Not a problem. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm coming now.
And welcome, Angie. I think that's Angie who just joined.
Hi, thank you. I'm going to
Hi,
switch
Angie.
my computer in a minute.
And then one just technical thing, Agar, you did such a nice recap, and but do we have for the breakout rooms easy access to the Wheel of Change, or if not?
Maybe I can share my screen and show the Wheel of Change. I don't know how to do that, or I will just send the link to everyone or in the groups. Yeah, we will put it in the chat. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. Please say something while we are working on the technical part.
I want to know, Mark, how did you find this group? Did somebody invite you, like Agar?
Yeah, so I'm Mark. I'm from Neighborhood Church. We host Durwood Farmers Market at our church every week, and Gigi is Milk Lady Market. So we partner as a church with her. She takes care of the vendor side. We take care of the volunteer side in providing the space for the market. And so we really value engaging our community. So as Neighborhood Church, like a really high value for us is blessing our neighborhood and finding out the needs of our neighborhood and being a blessing. And so with that, Gigi is doing things with SnapWick. I know Manna. I think we sent a couple volunteers over there the other day to Manna. We just now, the PTA put a little free pantry out front of the church, take what you need, leave what you need type deal. And so we're just always sort of trying to keep a pulse on the community of how we can both use multiple levels of our resources to help genuine needs of our community. So that's how I found out about it. That's who we are in a little snapshot.
Excellent, thank you, Mark. Coincidentally, and Angie's on the phone, so she may be able to say more, but we are right now exploring with Kensington doing a little free pantry. So maybe we can learn from you. And I certainly learned a lot from Gigi, who's on our board and who has been a longtime farmer partner of ours in one way or the other. But again, just to the value of getting together, it wasn't until Breaking Bread that I heard some of her immigrant journey and her experience as a young person. So thanks for taking her invitation to be a part of it, and thank you for what you're doing in the community and being a blessing to that neighborhood and a good partner in many ways.
You're welcome.
And we saw Sam doing some good teamwork with Agar. So
Please
Agar,
give us 1 more minute, please.
sure.
I'm doing it.
I just saw Agar put the social change wheel link in the chat here.
I confirm that you can access the social change wheel PDF.
Rooms are open.
All right, great.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can join one room. I want to broadcast the message. I'm posting the questions, broadcast, so that they can see the rooms, all the rooms can see the questions.
Avara is also going to post a message so that it'll share all the questions. She just posted, I believe, share your inspirational story, identify values you'd like to bring to the next meeting. That's how to apply that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what my inspirational story is, but I might figure it out while creating some.
did finish, I think.
How's it going?
I'm muted.
How's what was supposed to be happening in the breaking room or breakout room?
Nobody knows.
Like I got in, they were just having their own conversations, and I just sat there.
Yeah. That
I'm
sounds.
leaving. Okay.
Yeah, they are supposed to share their inspirational story. And from there, they should identify a value of the values that they want to bring into the next normal. And they will also, they are supposed to also explain how to apply them. Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you.
I imagine that it was very nice. You had successful discussions in groups. Now it's the time to hear from each group what you have discussed and what we would like to share with us. So I will just leave anyone jumping and share for his group.
Oh, I didn't know I was unmuted, so I'll just jump in. Annabelle and Catherine Kopp and I were talking. Our discussion was really centering around going into this new post-COVID era, learning about others without assumptions. You know, I think we were talking about times where we felt that we maybe, made an incorrect assumption about someone, and there's a lot of fear associated with that. But I think the only way for us to actually have change is to be okay with making mistakes, and then to be able to listen to one another so that we can, actually address issues. So yeah, creating that space of trust and openness, so that we can, be with each other and not judge one another, so we can learn. So I think that was really the crux of our convo. But Annabelle and Catherine, please jump in if I mischaracterize or you want to add.
No, that was perfect.
Thank you, Reggie.
Yeah, I would only sort of recast it slightly to say, I think what we talked about and what Elgin has summarized is the foundation of a more open and inclusive, comfortable place where we can learn. And that will allow us to do the concrete work that I'm sure there's much to be done. So I left out the yoga stuff.
Wow. Thank you so much, Catherine. Any other group? We'll come back to you because we need to hear from you how we will apply it for the industry of food. Yes.
Well, I was assigned by Jackie to be the spokesman for the group.
Okay.
And I am a preacher, so I'll try not to preach. No. But I think the three things we talked about was time, and sort of before the pandemic, just kind of rushing from thing to thing to thing, and how to better utilize our time. And I think it kind of plays into the other thing we talked about with relationships. And there's this old saying that sort of resources move at the speed of relationships. And so relationship connections are so critical with regards to just our personal health and how resources get to others. And then also it came up with regards to more of not a food insecurity, but personal relationship with food and having a healthy relationship with food and making sure that we're eating healthy and taking care of our own bodies and kind of self-care versus just sort of trying to help others and not caring for ourselves. So that was kind of and feel free, any of the group, to jump back in and add or subtract anything.
Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing. Anyone else?
I wanted to piggyback on Catherine's yoga comment because I was going to make a bold statement right now. Um, I was sharing that acceptance was a value that would be important to me, and some of the other folks in my group, Robin and Priya and Simone, were talking about the importance of patience. And, I was giving myself kind of like a B- on acceptance and, wanting to grow in my ability to be in acceptance of myself and others. And Robin asked what it would take to raise that score. And I said, meditation, because I can really see the difference in how I'm able to deal with situations, whether I've meditated that morning or not. So I'm just going to say that the new normal should include mandatory meditation for everybody. And Robin or Priya might want to share more about what they shared in terms of the values.
Thank you so much, Angie.
Yeah, and I'll just add quickly, in addition to acceptance and patience, I thought flexibility would also be a great value going forward, and kind of being able to adapt to whatever happens going forward, that it might not be what we were used to before COVID, and that might not also even be the goal to get back to, what we were all doing then. And I'll also leave space for Simone and for Robin, in case they have anything to add.
I think you all summarized it well. But I think we're going to have to be flexible with ourselves if we don't manage to meditate every day.
Yeah, that's true. So I want to go back to Elgin and ask him, how do you think we can apply those, like creating the space of trust between people who are providing and our recipient providers, and how do you think we can apply that, something that we are not doing right now, or something that you think we should continue to consider into the next normal?
Yeah, putting me on the spot. I'll try my best to answer that question. I think essential to trust is being able to connect with people on a human level. And so, being open to having personal conversations and sharing even things about yourself. A lot of our convo is about, how we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to say the wrong thing. And I think that boils down to vulnerability and how scary that is. And I think showing that vulnerability and modeling that vulnerability opens up space for those conversations and for people to really connect on a deeper level. So I think that's how I'd answer.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any other reflections?
I wanted to share a comment about trust. I think that the benefit of the doubt is an important element to creating trust. I think a lot of times we start out in a space of a lack of trust of other people, but if we're willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, then it opens up the space to shift that, and we can start from a place of openness and just believing in other people instead of coming at them from the place of thinking the worst.
Exactly. That is a very good point, Angie. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share something?
I'd like to engage. Angie and I are going back and forth here, but I don't dispute at all that having giving people the benefit of the doubt and being open is important. But I think there's a fine line, and it's not always easy to see, where I'm concerned that sometimes giving people, quote, the benefit of the doubt gives them a pass where their assumptions or statements are not appropriate, are either misguided or narrowly focused. And I just sort of wonder how you negotiate that, if you understand what I'm saying. So what I often hear people say is, well, she meant well. Well, yeah, but how do we, when meaning well isn't enough? Maybe you've experienced that. And
Well, yes, and we may be looking at it from slightly different angles. I'm thinking of when we encounter people, rather than leading with preconceived notions, coming from a space of openness and assuming that we are meeting people who are coming from a good space. Now, there is that teaching that when people show you who they are, believe it. But that's at a different point in a relationship. If I am seeing you for the first time, I really don't have any reason to doubt you or to think that you mean any ill will towards me. And I can just approach you from the space of trusting that you are a good person just like I am, and that we can interact well with each other. Certainly there may be some actions that take place that change my mind, but there's no need for me to start off thinking, like not trusting you or thinking that I need to be wary of you for any particular reason. I saw, Kathy, you had a reaction and you unmuted, so I'm wondering if you wanted to say something in response to that.
I had some thoughts, and it's just about, my approach is generally unconditional positive regard. I'm gonna take people where they're at, what they're doing, and look at the positive. But that also means I'm not gonna let myself be a doormat for someone who's constantly asking for help, or not taking recommendations, or treating me poorly, or making side comments towards a particular group. I'm going to call people on that. That's me holding my personal boundaries. That if someone says something that, I find inappropriate, it's okay for me to stand up and say, hey, that's not appropriate. And I can still offer, hey, this is how you access food resources. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. But if you keep talking about a particular group in a slanderous way, I'm going to say we don't use that language. So that's what I was understanding Catherine's first comment, but I could be wrong. So please let me know.
Yeah, and if I could just add, sorry, Catherine.
No, go ahead.
Oh, just really quickly, I was going to add on to what Kathy was saying. It reminded me of this saying I heard recently about how normally we either focus completely on intent or on impact. And the saying was more along the lines, I might butcher it, but about acknowledging the intent while addressing the impact. So both are possible.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that, Priya. Catherine, you were about to say something.
That was all very helpful. And I think I'm placed differently than a lot of you because I have very little, I'm not working. So I don't have ongoing contact with a broad range of people in the public. So I have less occasion to negotiate these situations, but I just I guess that's all I'll say. I think Angie's gloss on what she said, which is, this is where I start, and other information, which is how I see what Kathy said fitting in, is there are times when there are boundaries or there are boundaries and there are times when those are breached. And that, for me, at least, it's a sense of responsibility about enforcing my own personal integrity and values. So, you know, it's hard for me to be a doormat, which some of you who know me know that.
Great. Thank you so much, Catherine. I want us to move on one of the ideas that someone shared about how can we be open to more inclusive space. How can we bring, I don't know, how can we be more inclusive? Can we share some of the reflections that we have? We are already doing that, but we want to hear more about that. And because we said that it's not only feeding people and giving food, it also other aspects of the society. How can we bring more people in, knowing that there are a lot of people out there who are not sharing the same culture as us, who are having some of the specific, I can say, qualification, and how can we bring them all into this, let's say, not conversation, but into what we are doing right now?
Agar, just to confirm, you're talking about how to be more inclusive in breaking
Exactly.
bread, or
no,
just
in
in
the
general,
food, in general,
in
in
our
the service
lives,
that
or
we are providing.
food security?
Exactly.
Okay.
Sorry, I was not very clear. Any thought?
I'll share a quick thought. I think, you know, for a lot of folks, talking to people outside of your network or your experiences can be uncomfortable. And I think being willing to do that again and be uncomfortable maybe is key to achieving what you're describing and being more inclusive, Agar.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any other idea?
So I don't want to come across as being cynical at all, but we could have a Manna Food Center block party.
That sounds very welcoming, not cynical.
Not at all. Yeah, that sounds pretty positive.
I think that people feel comfortable when they see themselves reflected in a space. So if there are people who look like you or talk like you, you might feel comfortable, you know, making yourself a part of what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yes. True.
I was on a call the other day, and the participant indicated that her adult child who was in the home with her was on the spectrum. And so maybe including, and the spectrum being autism, maybe including speakers into Breaking Bread that can come in and speak on different topics like autism. Maybe offering those resources at some of the food distribution sites. Just a thought, just a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
I've also had a couple of calls. The first question was not, you know, can I get a box of food? The first question was, can you help me with employment? Or is this the unemployment line? I have questions in reference to continuing to receive my unemployment. And so, you know, maybe developing some events, or, you know, offering, you know, where folks from different backgrounds have an opportunity to speak or present, or just, like I said, providing additional resources at food sites.
Mhm. Yes, those are the kind of things that I think we are doing some of them, like having some of the resources that we are sharing with our participants. And we are not doing a kind of discrimination between who are the recipient of what we are of our service. Yeah, so we need to improve them, as you said. So any other thought?
I wanted to build on Simone's first idea, using that example, that there's somebody who, might need some resources about the autism spectrum, and we could bring in a special guest. And I wanted to just check in with the group here. At some point in COVID, we did bring in special guests as experts, because there were so many critical concerns around race and health. But we've been trying to step back from that because we want to lift up the expertise of our own group. So I think, like, if we were to pick that sort of topic, just to use again Simone's example, it would be neat to say, hey, we are thinking about getting a better understanding of autism so that we can be a more inclusive organization or more inclusive neighbors. Is there anyone in this group who would like to share based on their own family circumstances or their own situation? I know a lot of times people who are on the spectrum are also open to talking about that. So not to belabor that example, but I guess I would like to connect it to our own expertise and our own experiences, and have keep on inviting people in, so we'll broaden the network of expertise, but then also among whoever's gathered to tap into what can be shared. Did that make any kind of sense, Cigar? I'm looking to you because...
Yes, Jackie.
Okay, good, because I don't want to give you a mandate that you were then like, what did she mean? And
no, I'm happy because you are helping me. Thank you. Yeah. We still have some times to continue to share and to maybe think about some of the things that we would like to bring in the new normal or to reconsider in the new normal. We still have 10 minutes for that before I wrap up and I take the commitment for the next meeting. Any other? Yes, Kathy, you are muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I had one other thing, and Jackie and I talked offline about this, but on the referral form, it is very open and welcoming, but gender has two options. And Maryland changed the driver's license and now this year the voting card registration to include you, which is not the best, but that gives a different option than the traditional binary. And I think adding that would help make some of our clients feel more included so they don't have to choose A or B. And, and with the technology, there is so much access to, so again, it sounds like this conversation is addressing the diversity, equity, and inclusion to make everything more accessible for more people. And if you don't have that disability, it's really hard to think about, oh, do I need to add closed captioning to the Zoom? Do I need to have the text messages with an uppercase on a hashtag to make sure the screen reader works, and different things like that. I don't have answers, but I've just found more questions. The more I've tried to be more inclusive, the more I'm learning, oh crap, I accidentally left out this person. So
yeah.
Well, thank you, Kathy, for bringing that up. We have been talking about updating the form with an additional option. And I would love to talk to you more about that. So maybe let me put my email address in the chat, and if you could send me a quick hello, then we can connect and talk about it more. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that next step. action that we will be taking. Any other thought?
Yeah, if I may, real quick. As far as spreading information, I know we give out boxes of food to our satellites and stuff. Maybe we can add different information, different leaflets, like maybe vaccination information or information to minority farmers or farms where people can go other places if they want to pick up food, or just other options that we can provide to other people. Because like when Simone was speaking earlier, I was thinking of maybe like a chalkboard, where we can just look at information in different ways. If we could just put leaflets in the boxes, maybe that might spread the information to other people who don't, who are afraid to ask or don't ask or don't have the opportunity to ask. Maybe some people that we give boxes of food to that they want to get vaccinated, but they don't know who to ask, especially getting around food, they may have to be vaccinated. That might be a good idea.
Thank you, Reggie. So we will be thinking about how to provide your site, your distribution site with more information, more resources, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So I just want to wrap up before we go to our next steps on making our commitment on what we have discussed so far. We came out with some fundamental values to keep in mind in the next normal, like listening to people who are around us, be patient with them, building trust, welcoming people, and having mutual participation, building an inclusive space, sharing resources, updating our tools, and so on. So I will just write everything down so that when we are moving forward, we should think about those things. And yes, and maybe at some point we can continue to have those kind of conversation. Now, I would like us to just make our commitment for the next meeting. What do we want to do before July 21st? What commitment do we want to take from here? Because we said that even sharing the resources is a commitment, or inviting people to this conversation is a commitment, but I want to hear from you. What you would like to do?
Something that came up in my small group with Catherine and Annabelle, we were talking about Annabelle and her organization, and how she's connecting people right in our backyard with resources. And we talked about yoga and meditation. And I told her that before the pandemic, I actually was trying to become a yogi. So I'm going to commit to making sure to connect with Annabelle to talk more about Manna, but also maybe do some sort of a side project with her and talk about meditation and maybe try to bring some of that resource to her people, because I think that's important. So
thank you, Elgin. Anyone else?
I'm going to give myself a 30-day meditation challenge so that I have some reason to, move forward with meditating every single morning before I go to work. And I'm also going to commit to talking to Kathy more about more inclusive gender options.
Thank you, Angie. I will be part of that meditation challenge.
Great.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I think following up from what Elgin had stated previously on speaking or being in contact with people who are outside of your circle. I think that's how you phrased it, Elgin. I probably messed that up a little, but in terms of being more inclusive, it's hard to, as Kathy mentioned, if you're not living that or know someone who's going through those types of difficulties or circumstances. So just continuing to broaden my circle and knowledge.
Yes, thank you Priya. Any other commitment?
I'm going to be inspired by Angie and I'm going to try some meditation, which my husband would love me to do. And I'm committing to keep bringing Reggie vegetables, freshly harvested vegetables, not next week, but soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Robin. Yes,
Agar,
Catherine.
I guess it was 2 meetings ago, I invited 2 people to join us and I had a 50% success rate, which is pretty good. And I'm gonna commit to trying to think about other people, and speaking of being inclusive, be broader and a little more courageous in who I might ask to join us next month.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Yeah.
Well, wait until you see who I ask.
Exactly. Any other commitment? If not, our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 21st at the same time. I just want to thank everyone who joined the meeting today. Thanks to Sam, who was working behind the scene, and Priya. And yeah, thank you to all of you, and wishing to see you on July 21st. Thank you so much for coming.